Hello, welcome. Thank you for joining us on this edition of News 2. I'm Sandra Gumansing. In our top story, Governor Kenneth Mapp called for a special Senate session on Thursday afternoon to discuss Bill number 31-0447 or the revised borrowing bill he's asking the Senate to approve. Now, during the session, lawmakers raised concerns about the effects of the PROMESA Act on the Virgin Islands' borrowing capacity. We'll have more on the outcome of that session in a later newscast, but for now, here's some of that discussion.
We have a lockbox. We have never filed bankruptcy. We can't file bankruptcy. So I'm saying, why are we still allowing them to use PROMESA to squeeze us? It doesn't apply to us. So why don't we make that abundantly clear to them?
We have, in addition to the 5-year plan and going to the capital markets, we have a plan with respect to working with the rating agencies. We have to meet with them more often. We have to bring them up to speed on our initiatives, and you know, to work on changing that perception, because the perception is all wrapped up in the rating right now. And what seemingly happened to Puerto Rico, you know, awoken them to the situation that it could possibly happen here in the U.S. Virgin Islands.
Be sure to count on 2 for more. The air conditioning problems at the Charlotte-Kimmelman Cancer Institute has raised concerns in the community about how this affects cancer patients in the territory. On Wednesday, as we reported, top Schneider officials gave an update on efforts to bring the AC units back up, as well as making sure patients get the care they need. News 2's April Knight has more.
What was supposed to be just an air conditioning problem is proving catastrophic for the Charlotte-Kimmelman Cancer Institute on St. Thomas. According to Schneider's CEO Bernard Wheatley, when they were notified of the institute's AC problem on October 21st, they worked on a solution right away.
We began to work on that matter with our own engineers, as well as the engineers for the system, which is Carrier out of Puerto Rico.
Parts were ordered, the equipment went back up, and then failed again. Schneider will now rent a replacement chiller from Puerto Rico. But the bottom line, they said, is that the equipment they have is obsolete.
The mechanics of it, the makeup of it, this particular chiller, is no longer a manufactured item. Components we can no longer get from the original manufacturer.
According to Schneider officials, at no time was there a disruption to the chemotherapy aspect of their services. The hospital's oncologists also took offense at reports that they did not promptly and properly notify their patients about the interruptions to the radiation side of their services.
That was something that was very bothersome and offensive to me, because one of the things that I do know is we not only take great pride in what we do, but we take great care of our patients. I called many of the patients, particularly the patients who, when we met as a care team and we prioritized diagnoses, I called the patients who I thought it was most important that they have no interruption in their treatment.
But Wheatley said it goes back to funding. The hospital needs money to maintain equipment that's constantly running in a Caribbean climate.
Again, it goes back to the hospital's continued struggle with finances. It takes a capital to run the hospital as well as operational dollars. The capital is what replaces the equipment, which funds depreciation.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
We will keep you updated on the resolution of Schneider's AC issues. In crime reports on November 2nd around 3:42 p.m., officers responded to Estate Thomas area after several citizens reported that several shots had been fired. While conducting the inspection, officers were notified by 911 operators that there was a gunshot victim at the Schneider ER seeking medical attention. The victim stated that he had just parked his vehicle in front of his residence and proceeded to walk towards his home when he suddenly heard shots being fired. He then explained that he began to feel a burning sensation to his left arm and was transported via private vehicle to the hospital. The victim was then treated for a gunshot wound to his left arm and right calf. The investigation continues. Also on Monday, November 2nd at approximately 7:15 a.m., 38-year-old Julian Christopher Williams, a vagrant, was arrested for simple assault on Police Commissioner Delroy Richards. Here's more.
Preliminary investigations reveal that Police Commissioner Delroy Richards Sr. was at the Jiffy Mart store in Christiansted purchasing an item. When he encountered Williams, who exhibited a strange behavior during the encounter, the vagrant assaulted the commissioner. The vagrant fled the area on foot. However, after search, he was later apprehended in the Market Square area and arrested by the commissioner. The commissioner sustained no injury. Unable to post bail, Mr. Williams was remanded to the Golden Grove Detention Facility pending advice of rights hearing.
There will be a press conference tomorrow at 10 a.m. at Government House in St. Thomas. Police are meeting to address Police Commissioner as well, Delroy Richards, and Attorney General Claude Walker. They will be discussing recent local crime issues and initiatives. The Lou Muckle Elementary School was dismissed at 10:45 a.m. today due to an internal electrical service interruption at the school. School buses arrived between 10:45 a.m. and 11 a.m. to transport students to their regular drop-off locations. Lunch was served. The superintendent's office regrets the inconvenience and looks forward to the matter being resolved. Well, early voters came out in record numbers this year, about twice as many as the 2014 gubernatorial election. We now have the complete tally of early voters on each island. The total number is 5,063 early voters territorially. On St. Croix, 1,816 people voted early. On St. Thomas, some 3,071 voters. And on St. John, 176 voters. The voting machines were also tested in the St. Thomas-St. John district. The testing of the Automark and the DS200 machines, which will be utilized during the general election process, were completed on Wednesday, November 2nd. Well, the last Thursday before Election Day, the national polls show a race that is coming down to the wire, and the candidates are pulling out the stops with big names and big money in the final days of the campaign. Dan Gallagher breaks down the latest on the race for the White House in this report from Washington.
Big names, big money, little time left.
5 more days. 5 more days.
It's coming down to the wire, and Hillary Clinton is maintaining her election edge over a late-surging Donald Trump. The CNN poll of polls, which averages the 5 most recent national polls, shows her leading 46-42. Now, surrogates for both candidates are out in full force, crisscrossing the country. Melania Trump, who until today hadn't delivered a campaign speech since the Republican National Convention, made a rare solo appearance speaking to voters in Pennsylvania.
This man I know so well, Donald Trump, with your help and God's grace, will make America great again.
But the plan to catch up or pull away at the last minute is an expensive one. Cue the multi-million-dollar closing arguments.
Countries that hate
Clinton's camp ramped up its spending to roughly $32 million in the final week alone, inundating battleground states and beyond with ads like this one.
Because all it takes is one wrong move.
I would bomb the out of him.
Just one.
But Trump is getting in on the big spin, too, dropping around $20 million on spots airing this week.
Don't let her fail us again. I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
And while Clinton may be the Cubs fan, both candidates had skin in Game 7. World Series watchers got a side of politics with their baseball Wednesday night, with each campaign running 3 ads during the primetime broadcast. In Washington, I'm Diane Gallagher.
Keeping our eye on the economy, social networking giant Facebook is nearing another big milestone, 2 billion users. The company says it had 1.79 billion active monthly users as of the end of the third quarter. That's upwards of half of the 3.2 billion people estimated to have internet access worldwide. Crossing the 2 billion user mark would put Facebook's usership at more than a quarter of the world's current population. That announcement from Facebook CFO David Weir was followed by a drop of more than 5% in Facebook's stock price after hours trading. Here's a look at the stock market watch at the New York Stock Exchange. Everything down. The Dow 28, NASDAQ 47, S&P 500 down at 9. Coming up on News 2, grab your pen and paper. We got your winning lottery numbers, our VI Recycles feature kicking off today, and the Chicago Cubs beat the Cleveland Indians. They are now the World Series champion. More about this historical moment coming up in sports. Welcome back. Governor Mapp signed a proclamation naming the month of November VI Recycling Month. The Virgin Islands Waste Management Authority is using this as an opportunity to urge residents to do some recycling of their own. In fact, they have events lined up to help the community get started. News2's April Knight has more.
November is VI Recycling Month, and the VI Waste Management Authority is leading recycling awareness events throughout the territory.
We encourage and we highlight recycling initiatives for the territory of the Virgin Islands and what our residents can do to promote recycling, and businesses alike as well, to do recycling, source separation, and to decrease our waste stream that we have to dispose of annually.
This weekend on St. Croix and St. John, they're giving composting workshops to residents.
Then we're also going to be at the agricultural fair this month on St. Thomas, where we're going to be doing the composting workshops as well during the agricultural fair.
They're also teaching composting during the Taste of Two Islands, and will have tables giving out information at various public events. With the recent passage of the plastic bag ban, which takes effect in January, Waste Management is reaching out to public schools to help young people create their own alternatives to plastic bags.
We're going to be doing an upcycling contest at the schools, where we're challenging the school kids to be creative and create reusable reusable bags from various waste products that they have.
But recycling efforts are ongoing year-round at Waste Management, from the recycling of scrap metal to electronic waste to hazardous household items.
Household hazardous waste facilities on all three islands, where residents are encouraged to remove certain hazardous products, household hazardous waste products, so to speak. Yes, for example, particular electronic waste, computers, laptops, TVs, things of that nature.
Reporting for News 2, I'm April Knight.
Be sure to tune in to News 2 this month. We'll have more on Waste Management's recycling awareness events, as well as recycling and composting initiatives in the territory. Well, are the number of cases going down? There are 21 new confirmed cases of Zika in the last week in the VI, according to the Department of Health. The prior week, there were 65 new cases. Well, there are now 1,500 reported cases. The number of pregnant women in the U.S. VI who have tested positive for Zika is 67, and 590 positive cases among remaining population. You can always go to the Health Department's website to check out the latest reports every week. It's www.doh.gov.vi. As we close out Breast Cancer Awareness Month, attention breast cancer patients. Have you been to the Appearance Center at the Charlotte-Cameron Cancer Institute? Well, there you can find a mastectomy and medical compression garment fitter, an individual trained and qualified to measure, fit, dispense, and adjust external breast prosthesis, bras, and of course all the related supplies. Here's more.
And the procedure is, of course, I will do the evaluation, take some information, insurances and all that. And then we ask about their surgery and all the pertinent information. And then I would take them to the dressing room. You can tell you do. And then we proceed to fit them with the prostheses and the bras that were pulled for them specifically.
Well, the winning numbers of the VI lottery were drawn earlier today, and if you purchased a ticket, you would have noticed it was in recognition of breast cancer awareness. Well, meanwhile, let's see if you are the winner. Here are the lucky winning numbers.
The VI Lottery presents today's drawing on News 2. Here are the top prizes. Fifth prize for $20,000, 19817. 19817. Fourth prize for $30,000, 6323. 6323. Third prize for $40,000, 21503. 21503. Second prize for $65,000, 22808. 22808. And the grand prize winning number for $175,000 is 26899. 26899. If your ticket number wasn't called, keep trying. One of these days, your number could win. The next drawing is November 17th. Play the VI Lottery and imagine the possibilities.
Good luck. Stick around. Your News 2 AccuWeather forecast comes your way next.
Unsettled conditions will continue over the next few days, unfortunately. As we take a look at the satellite, 2 areas of low pressure, one out in the Atlantic that's drawing that moisture attached to along this frontal boundary in from the tropics. So that's shifting the moisture out towards the Atlantic. However, we are right in that moisture path, and an area of low pressure down here in the southern Caribbean also creating some instability throughout the atmosphere. As we take a closer look around the island, what we're seeing are some scattered showers throughout tonight as well. So shower 2 throughout this evening, and now these could potentially get pretty heavy out towards St. John's into tomorrow as well as through St. Thomas. So these showers will be brief in passing. However, we'll be seeing quite a bit of them as we move through your Friday. 85 degrees out near St. Croix. As we head out on the waters, on the Atlantic side at least, because of that area of low pressure out in the Atlantic, we're looking at some waves 3 to 5 feet and winds out of the southeast 10 to 15 knots. These waves could actually be reaching up to 6 or 7 feet. So pretty choppy out there on the water. Now, on the other side of things, we are looking at 2 to 4 feet for the Caribbean and winds out of the southeast 10 to 15 knots. Now, there are some a higher probability of rip currents out there as well with these choppier winds and that low pressure. As we take a look at your extended outlook, Friday and Saturday continuing to see some brief passing showers, but Sunday into Monday and throughout your early week next week, what we're looking at is another front sinking southward off of the U.S., and that's going to be joining up, bringing in some more moisture for our Sunday and Monday. Now, these could be potentially heavy downpours, so areas at the higher terrains could potentially be seeing some mudslides as well, and there could also be some flooding on the roads. So just be wary if you're headed out on the roadways come the end of your weekend and the beginning of your work week. Back to you, Sandy.
Thanks for that. It's time for our News to Weather picture there by Liana Camacho of Ricardo Richards Elementary School. This looks like a postcard. We included the sunshine there, some nice clouds, and overall calm scenery. Enjoying the view. Liana, thank you for that. Send us your News to Weather picture to the address on the screen. Be sure to include everything we need, and then tune in to see it right here on News 2. Stick around. We have News 2 Sports coming up next.
I'm Gary Anthony, and this is News 2 Sports. Sweet Home Chicago. That's the new home for the World Series trophy after the Chicago Cubs got the Game 7 win in one of the most entertaining, sit-at-the-edge-of-your-seat World Series in the last 30 years. The Cubbies came back from a 3-1 deficit to defeat the Indians to win their first title since 1908. If you didn't stay up to the wee hours last night, here are the glorious highlights. Look, LeBron is at the game. Top first, and Dexter Fowler goes yard for an early Cubs lead, 1-0. On to the top of the 5th. Cubs up 3-1 when Javier Baez goes deep, knocking out Indian starter Corey Kluber. In comes Andrew Miller, and Anthony Rizzo gets the RBI single. Now the Cubs are up 5-1. Top of the 6th, and David Ross, who's playing his last professional baseball game, goes solo to put the Cubbies up 6-3. It's 6-4 Cubs, bottom of the 8th, and the Indians mount a comeback versus Cubs closer Aroldis Chapman. Rajai Davis blasts a 2-run laser shot to left, and the game is tied at 6. After a rain delay, on to the top of the 10th. Ben Zorbis with the RBI double to left. The Cubs are up 7-6. Then Miguel Montero singles to left to make it 8-6 Cubs. On to the bottom of the 10th, the Indians, they don't quit. Rajai Davis again drives in a run with a single up the middle. The Tribe are now down a run. But Michael Martinez grounds to third, and the curse, it's over! Cubs win 8-7, and they are kings of the baseball world. World Series MVP honors go to Ben Zorbis, who said this about the 2016 World Series.
I felt like the way that the series has been up and down, and then Game 7 here, the elation of getting up early in the game and feeling like we have the game in our grasp, and then it getting away in the bottom of the 8th, and then having a little rain delay and coming back and scoring those 2 in the 10th. Man, it was just an epic battle, blow for blow. Everybody playing their heart out, and you know the Indians never gave up either. And you know I can't believe we're finally standing after 108 years, finally able to hoist the trophy.
Congratulations to the Chicago Cubs and the Cleveland Indians, who gave us one thrill ride of a World Series. That's it for sports. Sandy, back to you.
Thanks for that, Gary. And we'd like to thank you for joining us for all the latest in news, weather, and sports. I'm Sandra Gumansing. On behalf of all of us, have a wonderful evening. We'll see you next time.